Hey there. Welcome back.
So this is the gear I wore a few weeks ago in my old timer league, and like I said in the last video, I'm still trying to get caught up on the videos from the last few weeks here or so. Anyway, I'm trying to make these videos a little quicker, so let's just jump right into it and talk about all this beautiful gear. Kicking things off, no pun intended, we'll start with the pads. These are my mid to late 80s Glenn Miller GLP 1200 model. This is considered the senior model, not the pro custom model. This is a set I picked up maybe 2 years ago or so from a somewhat local used sporting goods store. These things were hanging on a wall. It was just, to me, disgusting. They were strap from each pad was tied together, and it was looped through a conduit that was coming up the wall behind the counter, and they were covered in dust and dry, and really they were just going to die a horrible death there. So made an offer. The salesman that was working there got on the phone with the owner, and we came to a deal. Overall, the pads were in really good shape, though very dry. I had to do a lot of cleaning and conditioning. I have a video on that. If you have some old leather gear, even if you don't use it, you just display it, you should properly treat them. And I'll put a link to that video up here in the corner and down in the description as well. The straps were all trashed on these pads. They were real dry. You could tear them almost like cardboard. I did get with my friend Glenn Miller, and he set me up with all the right pieces of leather I needed and sold me the buckles, and I used my riveter here that I have and my hole punch to make all new ones, and that included sewing the upper straps on both sides, the buckle side and the strap side. That was the most time-consuming and detailed project that I've done of the normal maintenance type. You have to actually, on this set, remove the binding to get at where you would sew the strap on, and then the strap comes through a slot in the binding, which is different than the other pads. Cooper and nobody else that I've ever come across did that. But it's also what makes them such a good solid pad. They also have the extra heavy layer of leather over the inside toe cap, and I think that's another reason why pads like this lasted so long, because they were able to take a lot more abuse. I love these pads. Now, they are pretty heavy. They do weigh in just a tad over, I think, like 7.1 pounds each. Kapok and deer hair stuffed. Excellent pads. And just an FYI, Glenn Miller's back in the business of making goalie gear, including he will still make a full leather and deer hair kapok stuffed pad. He will make this pad or the 1000 model, pro model, but he also has some other things out there. He has a newly designed hybrid synthetic pad, foam stuffed, the BLP 1000, I think it is, the Beer League Pro. So you can always check him out on Facebook. I'll put a link to his Facebook page down in the description of this video. So now we're going to talk gloves. I'm going to start right off with the blocker. This is just another one of my leather GM12s with the finger protection, and this is the later model. So this is going to be like later 80s, because they didn't even put the PF on the model number. Prior to that, it was, because that was like a new thing, a new feature at the time, it would have been called a GM12 PF. So it is somewhere around 88, 89 as far as this particular one. Then we'll talk about this excellent GM31 Super Pro catch glove. This is actually a leather version of the 31, which most of the time would have been Durasoft, because it's at the end again of the run of this style of glove. I do believe this one is again in about that 88, 89 range, just going by some of the features like the type of cheater style it has and so on. Just a quick clarification. So the GM31 leather always had that style of cheater. I do believe this is a 1988-89 model, because 1990 was the last year and the graphic changed on the cuff. One common thing about the plastic inside of this cuff piece here was that the plastic would cut and the seam. It would open up that seam. Several of them I've got, and other ones I've seen have a lot of times like hockey tape there to close up the seam. People will tape it up. When I got this one, I removed all the hockey tape. I got rid of all the gunk that was left behind, and I was able to manipulate it enough that I could run a stitch across there. And then the seam across the top was also bad. The binding was all deteriorated. I was able to use some black material to make a binding out of. I don't have a binding sewing machine or attachment, so I had to do that by hand. Came out really well. Normally that would have been the tan gold colored binding, but I didn't have that. Black looked pretty good because of the black graphics on it. This glove is really well broken in. I do like this glove. I like all my gloves. Fun to get this one out once in a while. So there it is, a leather late model GM31 Super Pro. So on my head, once again this week, SK2000 HM30 combo, one I've already wore this season. This is another one of the tri-colors I put together. These are the reproduction bumpers from Ed Cubberley. Again, I highly recommend them if you're looking for bumpers, and he does offer them in many different painted colors and shades. So I'll put a link to his Facebook page in the description so you can reach out to him if you're interested. Nice combo and fully repadded by myself. And that takes us to the stick for this week. I took out one of my Muskokas, and this one's a Muskoka PH6, and it has the feature that they call a 70-degree leverage cut here on the finger side of the paddle. I don't really notice much of a difference, to be honest with you. I don't know if that makes any real difference to me, positive or negatively. I like using the Muskoka sticks, even though I do believe these are like earlier 90s. I'm not really sure on that, but I think these are early to mid 90s. I do like using them for the wood look on them. Final two pieces again this week. I do believe I wore the Cooper Protectol SABP 22 upper body, and it was the regular black pants with white stripe, same as many games this season. Just a reminder, this is getting to be the wrap up of my old timer season, so I've got a few more games in the bag. We've actually now completed the season, so I've got to get those finished up and get them out there for you. Coming up is the game edit at the end of this. If you like the video, please make sure you hit a thumbs up, leave some comments, share it with anybody you think might enjoy it, and as always,
don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon too. That would mean a lot to me.
Yeah, that. Thanks.
Sunday night old timer beer league. What do you think of this combo I'm wearing here? Good, how are you? Well, losing 1-0 after one. twos and 2 to nothing after 2. Two to 0 loss.